Let us discuss about the nose and the medial wall of the nose, that is nasal septum, that is medial wall of the nasal cavity. So nose we have already seen. See, this is the outline of the nose, external nose. So external nose has got two small openings. So these are called anterior nares. So if we just look at this in the front view, so from front, so the portion where it is beginning from the forehead, that will be called as the root of the nose. Then this dilated portion, whatever you are seeing below, so that will be called as ala of the nose, and these two small openings, they are called, the nostrils are anterior nares. Then, so this sharp margin what you are seeing, so which is beginning from the root of the nose till the tip it ends. So here, so this is called as the dorsum of the nose. If I draw the same thing in the lateral view, so here, so this is the forehead, then this is the dorsum of the nose. The point where the nose is beginning, this is called the root, and now here this is the dorsum, and now here the nostrils are anterior nares. Then the region between the nose and then the upper lip, and then the lower lip, and then this is the region of the chin. Okay, so now this is the dorsum, this is the root, so the point where it is attached to the forehead, this is the tip, and these are nostrils. So same thing in the frontal view. So that is from front, how do we see this? Okay, so when you look at the external nose, so this, so it appears to be so piriform in shape. This appears to be piriform in shape. So where the lower end is broad and the upper portion is narrow. Then, so you have got two anterior nares or nostrils which are communicating to the exterior. So when the air enters in here, it will be entering into a cavity behind this. Now here, so this is the lateral view. The air enters like this through the nostrils. So it will be entering here into the nasal cavity. So now this is the nasal cavity. So this is the roof of the nasal cavity. So this is the floor of the nasal cavity. So the floor of the nasal cavity is formed by the hard palate. So the hard palate gives attachment to soft palate behind. So this is the roof of the nasal cavity. The roof of the nasal cavity has got anterior slope. Then in the middle it has got horizontal part, and again in posteriorly again it has got a slope. So this is the posterior slope. So posterior slope, anterior slope, so and then in the middle this is the horizontal part. So this is the roof of the nasal cavity, this is the floor of the nasal cavity. Anteriorly the nasal cavity, it is communicating with the external nose, and then through nostrils it is communicating to the exterior, and posteriorly, so this will be communicating with, so this will be communicating with the, yes, nasopharynx. So that is nasopharynx. Now here this is the posterior wall of the pharynx. Here this is the soft palate, this is the posterior wall of the pharynx. Now this portion, so whatever you are seeing here, this is called as nasopharynx, that is the first portion of the pharynx. So here this is the sphenoid bone which forms the posterior slope. Okay, so now, so nasal external nose from the nostrils, external nose, and from there on to nasal cavity. So with the roof and floor we have shown. So anteriorly it is opening into the exterior through anterior nares, and posteriorly it will be opening into the nasopharynx through two openings, so which are guarded by the nasal septum in the middle, and then on either side it will be guarded by the pterygoid plates. So that will be called as choana. So in the osteology class I have already explained. So that is otherwise called as posterior nares or choana. Okay, so now let us talk about, so the partition what you are seeing here. So the nasal cavity is not a single cavity, it is divided by a partition into two parts. Okay, so I am not exactly telling here it is divided into two halves. Why I am telling this? Because whatever the partition you are seeing here, so that will be not dividing exactly the cavity into two parts. So because this is always deviated to one side, more so it will be always deviated to right side. So that will be called as deviated nasal septum. So in majority of the individuals, if you just observe this partition, it will be deviated to right side. So there will be slight deviation. If it becomes maximum, so if the deviation is very much, then it will be called as deviated nasal septum. So then this will become a clinical condition where there will be plenty of complications like frequent rhinitis and then the sinusitis, that is inflammation of the paranasal air sinuses. Okay, so now let us talk about only the medial wall. So whatever we spoke just now, the nasal septum. So we will be just talking about the nasal septum today. In the next class, I'll talk about the lateral wall of the nose, and then in the next class, I'll be talking about paranasal air sinuses which are related with this.